Hello, welcome to the OMO Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we're getting deeper into this Pokemon adventure. Probably so deep that we could even throw people up and be like, Jesus Christ, how much Pokemon is these one people going to talk about? They're like, I don't know what the fuck. If you would read the story, you'd fucking know how sick it is.
It would probably be very... Because, you know, we would do, like, Volume 1s. Like, oh, yeah, we just covered the new Batman. Volume 1 of Batman, or whatever. Or Volume 1 of whatever new comic that came out. We might do that every so often, back in older episodes. But, you know, and then, like, move on to the next thing. Like, is this, like... Because it's just been, like, one after another. It's like, is this exclusively a Pokemon show? They took a break with Bruce Lee? But no, it's actually...
Yeah.
We're kind of getting to the end of it.
This exclusive Pokemon show of just one random Bruce Lee episode in between.
Just to break it up. And you could even make a like some kind of like long-winded like random like, oh well, you know, Hypnomly is inspired by, so no.
Like how it all ties together and why it all works out.
But no, we're just trying to finish this run because back when we were doing our month on miscellaneous Nintendo comics, we finished it up with Volume 1 of this, and most of those Nintendo comics were like, yep, one and done. This was just a little mini arc thing. Hope you kids enjoyed it. Where this one is still going on, or at least ended, I think at least Aloha, maybe, or Black and White. But
yeah, no, I know it goes past that. It is at least Aloha. For some reason, I don't know if they have Sword and Shield ones. That's the only one I'm not too sure if they still make.
Well, maybe they haven't come to America yet, possibly. But anyway, we were just like, we read the first volume, and we were both just like, wow, this was really good. Yeah. And I just started reading them. And then you're like, we should just do them for the show. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right. I might as well.
Yeah, they're so fucking good as is. And now we're finally getting to see, like, what really happened to Red in this one. You know, that whole battle that went down between him and Bruno and whatnot.
Yeah, Yellow kind of takes a back seat to this one for a minute. But it's one of those things, you know, it opens up with, like... I guess I'm a little confused. I mean, maybe it was... Cause I stopped watching the show before it happened, but I know eventually... May came in as Ash's new friend in the show eventually, and Gary's sister right here is named May, so I don't know if that was actually the thing, like if eventually he's like, you know what, I may not like Gary, but I'm fucking his sister. Totally fucking his sister if that happened in the show.
Well, that's what it seems like. Well, at first here, she's just like, you know, she's taking a job where, like, with Professor Oak. Professor Oak's like, don't you be fucking selling those maps again. You just scan them off the internet and fucking print them out and what. That's no legitimate. But, Grandpa, I drew them all myself. Yeah, that's what they always say. They drew the fucking map themselves. What are you, a cartographer? You know.
I used the ruler and everything, Grandpa. Yeah.
I love how he's, like, so against their, like, you know, entrepreneurship of, like, selling, you know, maps to local strangers. Local strangers? That boy lived next door. I caught him jerking off once looking through the window. That's why we had
You gave it to him for free. You realize he's never going to go away now, right? He's always going to be looming around those bushes. He's going to be waiting like those fucking things he's trying to catch, just waiting in the tall grass. You see his fucking hat go by like the shark fin in Jaws.
Yeah. That privacy bush isn't even helping the cause anymore either, too. He found a way around that one. Cut. Fucking asshole.
God damn, those fucking HMs.
Yeah, who the fuck gave that kid cut? A 10-year-old boy with the power of cut is just asking for trouble.
It was apparently some fucking captain that was such a bitch at sea. All he needed was his back rubbed.
Yeah, you know what that means when a captain says he needs his back rubbed from a 10-year-old boy.
Some L. Ron Hubbard shit's going on.
Just saying. Shit, I was a Pokemon trainer 40 plus fucking years. Don't question the age. Right? It was different back then, though. People had standards and morals. And an old man was just friendly. That was all.
But jumping to the story, basically World War III is happening in Kanto, and the Elite Four is just attacking everything. Just full-on war has happened. Misty's fighting off Celadon, Brock's fighting off Pewter, Erica's fighting off... Misty's Cerulean, Erica Celadon. But yeah,
it's just C names. They get confusing.
They do. And then we go back, apparently there's this just like, oh, you know that island that's just shaped like a big, like, you know, the blue turtle shell from Mario Brothers, basically?
Yeah, that place.
that's where, because at the end it ended with like them fight coming across like the remaining members of Rocket, and you find out they're doing the whole thing of like, you know what? We may not like each other, but we all hate the Four. So if we work together, maybe we can make something happen here.
This is where we need that great theme song from like the Fantastic Four cartoon show where it's like, just call the Four! Fantastic Four! However the fuck it went, but that was my biggest takeaway from that thing. It's like it had that fun theme song, and then of course the thing would always be pissed off and everything. Like, whoa! I know this has nothing to do with Pokemon, but the Four remind me of it.
Just to linger on that just for a minute longer. Real talk, I never gave a shit for Fantastic Four. I know they basically saved Marvel and brought them back to superhero stuff, but I never gave a shit for Fantastic Four. But maybe I just haven't read the right book, probably. But
I always wanted to really find like that thing that was going to be totally the awesome like gateway to Fantastic Four. I really thought that cartoon show was almost going to be it more than anything else because I thought it was going to be in the same style as Spider-Man and X-Men, and it's like it's done more like an '80s TV show, so it's not nearly as interesting.
Yeah, apparently the same shared animated universe when they were still getting their footing on all that type of shit.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman caliber. Let's just say that, and that's what I was expecting it to be.
The thing is, those good Marvel shows you remember, the ones that really were really good were the X-Men, Spider-Man ones, and I want to say Iron Man even came out first, but that was like some very like. It's on Disney Plus. I tried watching the first 2 episodes on Disney Plus. Like, this is a thick dick to choke down. I don't know if I can get through it.
See, that one is probably in the same category as the Fantastic Four one, and like they must have just made them first because the Fantastic Four one just literally. I mean, I know it came out like I almost want to say after X-Men, like a year or so later, but like it literally felt like that should have been a show from like 1988. Like it would have butted up right against like G.I. Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that had nothing to do with Pokemon other than the Fantastic Four of the Elite Four, and everybody's doing
It links to our main wheelhouse.
But I will say, at the end of the day, I always like the Thing in Fantastic Four. If there's one thing I do like about Fantastic Four, the Thing's pretty badass.
Ben Grimm. I always like Ben Grimm. If you can just get Ben Grimm and throw him in the Avengers or another team,
or by himself,
by him, or just the Thing. He's just thinging around. But anyway, going back to the thing at hand.
We got pretty much the I guess you would say the Team Rocket like gym leaders as Sabrina, Lieutenant Surge, and Koga teaming up with Gary and Blaine. I love there's like that shot that like when I think it's like Yellow or somebody walks up. I can't remember who it is. Like I think it almost is Bill, Yellow, and Green walk up on it, and there's just that picture where it just like looks like a fucking shady deal's going down. It's like on page 11 at the bottom corner. Even Blaine's like turn around like, oh shit, put the stuff away, Blue, put the stuff away. And
there's like a gym bag, but in the middle of all of them.
Yeah, and like look at Electabuzz. Electabuzz is like looking over with like a Lieutenant Surge. They both got these eyes. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck that boy the second that all these guys leave.
Well, here's the thing about like I'll say this.
And even like a Golduck. Golduck's even looking over like, shit, I hope the police don't show up. I already got 2 warrants.
I'm not going back to prison. I don't care if I gotta kill some cops. I ain't fucking going back. No, like it's like you look closer at Golduck. He has like 2 teardrops under his eye. The thing about I'll say this about Electabuzz real quick. I always feel like he's it's just that voice. It's just that voice. But he is a cool character. I mean, granted, it was the show that gave him that. But I feel like, because every so often you come around random trainers in the game, it'd be like, Fisher wants to fight. Nerd wants to fight. I feel like, there'd be a whole other trainer. Like, Barstool Carl wants to fight. And I feel like it's just the slob that hangs out at the bar all day. Has, like, does not pay child support, all that. I feel like he would definitely have an Electabuzz. He would have an Electabuzz. He'd have shit that didn't really have to evolve because he didn't want to have to put the effort into training him.
Yeah, he wants to be strong right off the bat. He's that guy.
He'd have a Rhyhorn. He'd have an Electabuzz.
He's
probably have.
I paid $500 fucking dollars for that Electabuzz. It better be fucking good.
He'd have a Mankey.
Yeah,
because he needs bar brawling.
He's definitely like a barman's like Pokemon. You know what I mean? I just feel like that's the Pokemon that like you'd be like, hey Mankey, take another shot of whiskey. Here's some peanuts from the bar. Yeah, I'm a good trainer. Don't you
Go
give me
hit that
fucking
test your
look.
strength machine.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess there's like those biker guys in the original Pokemon game that like I think they're like in the area where like you ride your bicycle. It's just like, hey kid, what you doing out here? It's for motorcycles only. It's like it's called the bike course. Yeah, well, well, fucking big want a motorized bike. And those guys always seem to have like Mankeys and like Electrobuzzes. It seemed like they had those kind of Pokemon. They always felt like they
those
just got
guys
back.
always thought they were fucking posers. I can't take them seriously. I'd rather fight like Barstool Carl than those guys, you know.
And the bikers hanging out on the bicycle course.
I can't take them fucking seriously.
We're picking up chicks.
Yeah.
The chicks are 12 years old. Give it a shot.
They're not even. It's like, well, how do you even get that? So how do you even like try and impress them? He's like, oh, you know, I don't.
My
have a driver's
bike's
license
bigger
either,
than their
so
bike.
I guess that's an opener for conversation. Shit.
Well, I like the way I approach everybody is with a very threatening fight.
Hey, so can I get your number after you know, after she just kicked your ass with a Meowth? Yeah.
You're like, oh, can I use some of that payday? You know, the Pokemart's free for some people, not for me.
The Pokemart. So, anyway, yeah, shady deals going on. Someone walks in, like Yellow walks in and all that, and then that's where we suddenly cut to Lorelai, and she's talking to Bruno, and Bruno's like, "That boy Red, I feel like he was my true rival." And we finally get the flashback over to Red having his battle with Bruno.
Yeah, and it's like super intense, and Bruno's doing the thing like, this is what I live for, this is what I train for, the ultimate battle, the ultimate success, all this, hard work paying off. You Red, you're the 12-year-old boy I've been looking for my whole life.
There's one 12-year-old boy to be my rival, I wish it to be you. No, here's the thing about Bruno. He is distinctly different from the rest of the four, because the rest of the four seem to have this self-important, grand, idealized vision of what they're doing. They think they're better or more important than what they are. The thing is, Bruno, he's just so dedicated to fighting and becoming the best warrior. Mm-hmm. He almost just like, well, when it gets down to it, he's really the only one that's probably can match up with us. And they don't say this, but this is almost how I take it. I almost take it like they recruit him just so they don't have to fight him. That's almost how I take that.
Yeah, because he's too big and scary and strong to like not have on your side. And I guess because Bruno's almost like was one's like, hey Bruno, we're saving the rainforest. Well, I like the rainforest. Okay, he signed up.
It's kind of like that, and it's also kind of like, and I was kind of like assuming and kind of guessing from like the last issue, and I think I was almost trying to correct you, but you were right. Basically, the Elite Four do want to wipe out just about all people, or at least thin the herd enough to make Pokemon basically just reign supreme over the world, more or less.
Yeah, because they literally are like a group of eco-terrorists at the end of the day. Professor Oak's like, make sure you guys go out there and stop those dirty fucking hippies from trying to kill us all. Charles Manson listening motherfuckers.
Listen to fucking Helter Skelter on repeat all fucking day. Fuck them.
I was just waiting for that, like, why, like, Professor Oak and Agatha, like, have this problem. And I really wish it was just some, like, 1960s band that they fucking had, and shit started to get dark. And Agatha wanted to take it to the next level, and Professor Oak was like, yo, I'm fucking here for the music. That's what I'm all about. I know you're into this weird dark arts, and you want to go fucking murder some actor.
She started hanging out with some asshole, carving a swastika into his forehead, talking about how the race wars is going to begin.
Carving a Team Rocket sign in his forehead. But yeah,
and that's when she really broke her heart when I just enlisted.
Yeah, cut my hair and everything. Joined up with Lieutenant Surge.
Started working out, got jacked. I cut my hair.
Started paying my taxes.
That's really what pissed her off.
She called me a sellout, but really, I bought in.
She said, you're a phony, man. And then, she threw a copy of Catcher at the Rye at me.
And, since she was fucking high, it flew off to the left when I was standing in front of her, but... Just
She
saying.
thought she was throwing a Pokeball, but she was so fucked up on shrooms she couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah.
It was all the same to her. Anyway. Yeah, she's an eco-terrorist now. Go figure. We all assume she ended up dead in the back of like a VW like bus or some shit.
In fact, I was really that's what I was planning on. You know, I mean, like, I know you guys look at me like you actually dated this. Like, yeah, it was the '60s though. You know what I mean? She was cool back then, and then something happened.
She was hot as fuck, but then one day she starts talking about starts talking about a race war. I'm like, oh shit, that's a red flag.
Yeah, and then her and Janis Joplin are just drinking copious amounts of whiskey and Oak Straight. Me and Ted Nugent were fucking hanging out. You know what I mean? We didn't know what we were doing. We just wanted to play guitar.
Yeah, if there's one person you don't want to bring to a hippie commune, it's Ted Nugent. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. What can I say? Ted threw out his Arcanine, had a big battle with frickin' lead singer of Jefferson Airplane. He threw his Drowsy out there. It was a whole shit show.
So I just thought, I'm gonna move to fucking Kanto and I won't have to deal with this anymore. but it came back.
That's got to be a thing. I know we keep on getting on different tangents, but that's got to be a thing where like, if this band member was a Pokemon trainer, what would they have? That's got to be a kind of a thing right there. I feel like if you were a rock band in the 60s, you definitely had a Drowsy.
Yeah, Drowsy, a Hypno, very, very 60s-like Pokemon.
Abra, not Alakazam, because you didn't have probably the focus or the discipline to train it that high up.
But you might have, because you'd be doing a lot of trading.
Maybe. You're like, hey man, can I give you my Kadabra for that kilo?
Nah, that Kadabra, it's your Kadabra, it's my Kadabra, it's all our Kadabras. Kadabra's like, I don't fuck you guys, I don't belong to all of you, stupid sons of bitches. Just get me the fuck out of here. Well, why'd you get rid of that teleport ability? I needed that.
I just want to fucking go home. But anyway, they end up having Bruno and Red end up having this big long battle to go through most of their characters, most of their team, and they end up having like Bruno just like has this genuine respect for Red, but that's where, and within the middle of that battle, because it's a flashback. Within that flashback, we see like Agatha brought Lorelei in because she had a seal that was basically dying, and Agatha saved the seal, and more or less just kind of brought her in like, hey, humans are evil. Oh, they are? Yeah, I just saved your fucking seal. But most other humans are evil. Let's fucking kill them all. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, because it seems like Lorelei she was definitely like kind of like a Bruno, but then very, very easily swayed into this, like, into Agatha's wrath against fucking Professor Oak and his fucking, Turn Point Band. I will have to say, though, there is a scene in here, I just want to say this really quickly, where fucking Bruno's fighting Red, and Red's got Poliwrath, and then Bruno's got Hitmonchan. And there's a scene where he's like, do the double slap or whatever. Fucking, like, Poliwrath, he's got fucking Hitmonchan's hand held, like a fucking, like, son that goes to try to hit his father. And then his hand's up there, like, don't you fucking dare try to swing at me. It's just, like, it's fucking, like, beating the fucking Hitmonchan. It's, like, one of the best pictures. I laughed so much.
Boy! Like, open hand palm slap.
Yeah, it literally even has like the sound effects of like pop 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 pop.
Go to your fucking room.
Yeah, I just get the fuck out of here. So I love fucking Poliwrath. Poliwrath just is that fucking like character, just like I fucking don't take shit from anybody.
Well, even when he looks at him, granted he loses the fight, but at the bottom panel he has this like Hitmonchan's like the fuck. Poliwrath's like, what are you doing now, boy?
Yeah, where you going, huh? You gonna swing to have your little powder puff gloves? Don't you fucking mess with the wrath.
Where you going with that little man pussy? Like, what?
Get over here, I want to grab it.
But then, like, he uses the Thunder Punch. They make a whole point of it being like, oh, well, that's a strength that, it's Thunder Punch, and that's what Water's weak to. Like, all right, well, they have Gyarados versus Onix for a minute. They're just riding their Onix and their Gyarados, and they're just fighting. And that whole battle right there is pretty awesome, just because, I mean, granted, Gyarados can knock that thing out in a heartbeat in the game, but they make it look cool and they make it look believable. But the thing that Bruno's ends up being. I'm not sure if it's still happening or what goes on. Basically, this battle goes on for a while. He ends up pulling up his Venusaur at some point, and then the ground starts to shatter and all that. But then eventually, and they have this long-winded battle, and it's all cool. But eventually, what ends up happening is Bruno starts to get taken over by Agatha's psychic ability characters, like her Gengar or something. And from there, he can't really fight. He can't move. And you find out they're trying to drag Red out there because they need his 8th gym badge, because nobody really ever had the 8 gym badges before.
Yeah, it's like one of those. Well, there's a point somewhere in this issue that they say that only 9 people have been Pokemon Masters throughout time, which I think is kind of. Yeah. I like the fact that it's it's not that common.
Yeah. Well, it's also just one of these things. Reading this, I'm wondering this because right here he's frozen. He can't control himself. Bruno's stuck in this position. So I'm wondering, from here on in, is he under their control and he doesn't realize it? Or does he just man, why'd you guys break up my fight? That's a dick move. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you back at the house at 8.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those ones I kind of have that weird thing. It's you could tell that Bruno's sort of being a little bit used, and it's kind of just tell him only 25% of what the plan really is. Yeah.
Well, he just wants to battle, and I think he doesn't care.
He's battle, and he wants to protect Pokemon. He's very all about the Pokemon. Because there's that part where they're battling, and the Diglets are crossing. He's whoa, Red, hold the fucking phone. I fucking love a Diglett. Let him cross. You know what I mean? Let him fucking cross. Shit, you don't got anywhere to go.
He put up a sign here, Diglett Xing. Yeah. And as they're going by, they're just going dig, Diglett, dig, and he just see he looks back at Bruno. He's like nodding his head
dig.
Yeah. Dig, Diglett, dig, Diglett, dig.
He starts going in behind him in order. He's just kind of crouched down, but bouncing along. Just this really big guy.
It's the little things that make him happy.
He grabs
are you surprised he's like this?
And just starts spinning it around.
Are you surprised that he's like this? His name is Bruno.
It's one of those things. And then he's just here's the thing. Let me tell you. Onyx right here, he creates tunnels. In the process, the Diglets fucking love these tunnels. And as they're diggling it through the tunnel, they turn to Doug Trios. Now, if a fucking city's built, where the fuck's Onyx gonna go? And how's Diglett's gonna happen? And everything's fucking destroyed. It's just oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we get back to the battle?
Oh yeah, sure. And then he gets frozen.
Yeah, and they goes, oh, not the Diglets.
And then, but they kind of make, because they're doing a good point. How's a housing development gonna help this? How's a shopping mall gonna help this? So, I think he might be in with them, but he's more of he wants to protect Pokemon, and then he wants to battle. So I feel like he does have a little bit of a cause, but he's more there for the fight. And it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I guess we'll find out by Volume 7. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's the first one to go against the rest of the 4 in a way of no, it's not the honorable thing to do. Because basically they ended up putting him under control. And that's where you see with a combination. This is where they start using that crazy shit where they bring in 3 different characters at once and make the battle way more complicated than you'd expect it to be. But Lorelei basically makes a voodoo sculpture out of ice, and then Agatha starts doing voodoo shit with it. And out of that, she freezes Red, but then Pikachu is just barely able to get away. She tried to do the same thing, but that's where there's that ice sculpture of Red, because he was stuck in there for a while. And that's where he just flat out get Hypno Lee does the baby killer right to Red's gut.
It's such a brutal fucking scene. That's the one where it's most people that sign up to be Pokemon trainers are I didn't fucking sign up for this part.
Oh yeah. And that's where Red just basically falls down a hill and ends up I'll be honest, this picture of Pikachu trying to get away from Hypno Lee, the way his hands are, he has the kind of rapey grab hands up and he's just oh fuck, and basically he just gets out of there because he has to get out of there before he's they made a mistake. They did not get your tail, and that's where that works as a source of your power. So run as fast as you can, get away as soon as you can, and use like get somewhere where that ice can melt so it doesn't take over your whole body like it's taking over me. And that's where he ends up heading over to Pallet Town. That's what they mentioned, like, oh, you know what? I think something may have happened to him. The reason why he didn't take you back to where Red was exactly because he was so messed up, both physically and mentally. He literally has a scar in his
war
ear now.
trauma.
Yeah, he has PTSD. He's just like shaky. He has to, don't be surprised he's not like in a wheelchair in Mexico fighting William Dafoe right now.
Yeah, exactly. Or he's like fucking Chris Tucker and like Dead President's Coming Back. Like, it's just not the same. I really do love like fucking PTSD fucking Pikachu. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, because I guess that's a character that you wouldn't expect to have that, but it's like, oh shit, this Pokemon went through like a humongous battle and like fucking is scarred, and like he wakes up in the fucking middle of the night like in a hot sweat, just being like, Pikachu, you had a nightmare again, Pikachu.
He just wakes up, just like blows a tree up, like it's okay.
They're in the bushes. They're in the bushes. Here, Pikachu, it's okay. Here's a cigarette. Here's a cigarette. He like lights up real quick. I'm fine. It's good. It's okay. He's just like rocking himself back.
Here, this is the end, my dear. Like, turn that fucking song off.
Fucking punches out like a mirror. Like, who the fuck left this mirror stand right here? I don't know, but fucking
in the middle of a fucking forest, but. And like, well, he does actually. They do go to their way. Granted, this thing still, I'm going to say, it still remains PG, but every so often the guy tips its toe in PG-13, and not that he has a scar is a big deal, but I'm surprised they do that to their mascot character. And granted, it's not like it's across his eye or across his mouth or something. It's across his ear. I didn't even really notice it until they pointed it out. But looking back, flipping through this thing a second time, like, oh yeah, he does have a little bit of a scar on his ear.
Yeah, I mean, it's more just like, all of one or two lines, so, you can't really notice it for the most part until they bring it up, but
you don't think that's something they'd acknowledge, like, that's our mascot character, we can't do that.
Yeah, you can't damage the intellectual property. That's like something they would say nowadays. I feel like...
That's like, you can't put a scar on Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. And I think it's like one of those ones, like this, the nice thing about this book is that it was just written... like, before Pokemon was, in a sense, like, just a ginormous... I mean, I guess by about the time this issue or this volume came out, I mean, we're in the Gold and Silver era, so, I mean, it is fucking pretty huge. But for the most part, it started off in, like, the kind of a pre-Pokemon Mania era, so they could kind of get away with some of these things that I feel like if this book would have been started... Like, if you would have made this book now, we would never be able to do half these things in here.
Yeah, well, I also feel that definitely that's the case. But I feel like the people making it, like, this was actually closer to what the original creator of the series wanted. He apparently wanted it. The vision, the way the show goes, that's not what he wanted.
Yeah.
He wanted it to kind of age with its audience. Not to the point of, like, being rated R or anything like that. But he did want it to actually get a little heavier and a little darker at points. And this definitely does that. Now, it's not to the point of, like... It's still definitely a PG, but it definitely does age more than from when the first issue started.
So what you're saying is that if we went out and picked up the latest Pokemon volume right now, the character should be fucking 30 years old then.
Like, just like bench pressing, just like fucking like chain smoking, hard drinking, yeah.
Well, that sounds like if that was made for like the Professor Oak audience.
Well, granted, I'll say this was... He said that back in the 90s. I don't know if he feels that way the same now. Because, it's way more... I mean, because the fact they probably kept it, like, because I think Nintendo, the suits of Nintendo said, there's always going to be a 9-year-old kid in America. So they always wanted to keep it somewhere from 7 to 12 as their main demographic. But I guess... Then they didn't count on the nostalgia market. And then, combine with that. Because this book... You can say what you will about the series, the whole franchise itself, but the book is a well-constructed story.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the games are well-constructed stories, too, but...
I think the games are just more... The games are more fun, and there's a lot of, like, wiggle room to input your own ideas of what you want the characters to be. From the games I did play, I never thought the stories were that great. They weren't bad. They were suitable, but they were never really like. It's not like I was playing a Hideo Kojima game.
Well, yeah, they're not like
Red Dead Redemption.
They're not like that caliber. I don't mean like that, but I mean like they still are like that. I think it's because it's like it's a lot more like you fill in kind of your own like feelings like on top of everything. Like it's not one of those like I'm gonna hold your hand and walk you through my movie. It's like Pokemon's supposed to be kind of like, hey, this is you. You kind of add like commentary along the way. I think that's kind of like how you're supposed to interpret a Pokemon game.
Yeah, that's how I feel the way too. So I think that's the reason why something like the game still hold up to me, but the show doesn't, because it's a good baseline. It's a good. This comic proves that you can kind of it's a good source material and you can do a lot with it. It's very versatile. But if you have the context of just the show in mind, that's where it probably seems a little bit more limiting. But moving forward from there, after we see how Red finally got taken down and Pika got away, that's where we cut over to Yellow back on the island, trying to sneak in and fight the Elite Four. And that's where Blue and Green come in.
Or Bill and Green.
Or Bill, yeah. Bill and Green come in. And then from there, they end up like, they have something, what was it? It was something important they end up dropping, that a Slowpoke or Slowbro, it's like, I'm gonna fucking eat this.
Oh, it's like the map that they have to get into like the base or whatnot. And then it's like, and Bill's like, don't fucking eat it. Don't fucking eat it. Oh, he fucking ate it. Oh, shit.
Green's like, good job. You fucked this up, Bill. Yeah.
It's like, it wasn't my fucking fault. Just fucking cunt Yellow.
And then from there, we see like more of the forest forces attacking a bunch of the other cities. And then we cut over to, this is where they actually use a lot more of the technical things. And that's where they're looking to meet up with Blaine and Blue, because they're coming in from the other island. Like, wait, they're not here? Oh shit, they're attacking the other cities? Oh man, what the fuck are we gonna do? And then that's where like Green's like, yo, Clefable has big ears, so she can hear from like a while away. So we can just follow what Clefable knows. So just read her mind, and that's like, wait, Rocket's here? What the fuck's Rocket doing here? And that's where they get lowdown on what's happening. And that's where Sabrina is like, yo, okay, so I'm gonna have my Alakazam here do some magic shit. He's gonna give you all a spoon, and the spoon just basically bends in the direction of whoever you should team up with.
I love how it's like they're literally like, how are we gonna solve teaming up? We're just gonna draw sticks, but in this case, draw spoons.
And it's ironically enough, it's all the people that basically fought each other during the Sylph fight, or Sylph or Sylphco? How do you pronounce it? Sylphco fight, yeah. And basically, it's it's Green with Sabrina.
Well,
Blue
it's
with
like
Koga.
They first do like, okay, here's Team Woman. And then Koga and fucking Blue go together, so it's almost like the kung fu kind of guys. And then Lieutenant Surge, I love he's like, well, I guess my partner's supposed to be Red, but you'll do. Come on, Bill.
I think he just grabs him and throws him over his shoulder.
Yeah, just like, we're having a hell of a time. Here, got a 6-pack of beer we can split on the way.
And Yellow and Blaine are like, well, we already kind of came together, so might as well. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I like how he's just all like, all right, come with me, college boy.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna teach me 4 years and 40 steps.
You fucking draft dodger.
Yeah. I know why you joined fucking college. You fucking lied to me, boy.
Let me ask you this. How many ears do you have on your necklace?
None. That's what I fucking thought.
Yeah, Southern accent ain't fooling nobody. I really like Bill. I know Bill can't do a whole lot, but I really like Bill.
No, Bill's an amazing... Well, because I think that's the thing, is he's supposed to be kind of the guy who's like, here's a guy who just kind of works on, scientific projects and so on, and he's not a Pokemon trainer, and I think that's kind of like the one thing that's kind of nice almost, because everybody's a Pokemon trainer, but Bill's the one guy's like, no, I'm just in the fucking computers and shit.
And you wouldn't think they'd use him, because you bump into him once in the game, and if you want to go back and see him, you can. But beyond that, you never think he's a character that kind of comes up, and you don't really think of him again. And he's just a really good inventor. And the thing is, yeah, he has a few Pokemon or whatever, but he doesn't do a whole lot of fighting. And there's something about him that's just really likable. I think because he's just really resourceful, and he is smart, but he's not like everyone else. He stands out in his own different way.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. And I don't know what it is, like the Lieutenant Surge Bill pairing, I was like, dude, I'm fucking sold there.
That is, I really like this issue. I really like, and this covers something that we were debating about like 2 or 3 episodes ago, which that we're like, okay, is that a Golbat or is that some weird little device shaped like a Golbat? No, that's a fucking Golbat.
Yeah, they explain it's like the supersonic or whatever makes it like when it pierces through the walls or whatever, then like it comes back and you can see it like a screen in Goldbat's mouth. So at least they kind of figure out. I really do think that probably fucking like letters came into Japan and they're just like, yeah, we'll figure this out.
Well, I think it happened with the Golbat. I think it happened with the Poliwrath thing. How the fuck did it evolve without a stone? I think there's all these little like inconsistencies that fans are like, well, like, oh, let's just shut these fucking nerds up. All right, let's retroactively add this.
Yeah, because I'm sort of thinking that's kind of what these kind of moments sort of are, because you know what I mean? Like, as they were making those first, few books, it's like, nobody said anything because the games were barely even out. And then by this point, everyone's a fucking Pokemon expert now. Shit, don't ask the guy who's writing the fucking comics.
Well, I think it's also interesting because they bring in that whole aspect of, like, oh yeah, well after Blue beat Koga, he just took his Golbat. Like, fuck you, you don't need this. But then since they're working together to fight Agatha, they give it back.
Yeah, well, it's like I think there's that kind of thing where they just always have that sort of like somewhat Pokemon trading in there. You know what I mean? Like to keep that kind of like aspect alive. Like, it probably is one of those weird things where it's like I could see like Nintendo and Game Freak being like, okay, just mention the trading throughout, every once in a while. If there's an opportunity to trade a Pokemon, just kind of have it in there. Because that's sort of what we're selling this game on. Because that's almost that thing that you don't... I mean, it's always been in Pokemon, but I feel like the trading aspect is kind of... Or at least maybe just when you get older, it just kind of goes away. But probably because you're just not at school to trade with anybody anymore. Maybe that's the main reason.
Well, it's also, I feel like... there would be that thing you trade, and you only trade just to like make this guy evolve, or just to get it into your Pokedex, just to get the credit for it in your Pokedex, until you learned how to clone. But
that only works on Red and Blue, the originals.
That only works on Red and Blue in the original. Yeah, it only works on those ones. So once you do that, that's where... Did it work on Yellow, too?
No, it didn't work on Yellow.
Okay, well, it worked on Red and Blue. But anyway, from there, it was just one of those things where it's just... What was I saying? Like, that right there was one of those ones where, like, okay, that became kind of fun again. But really, you didn't really trade for a long time. Like, and when I was playing Let's Go, when that came out, it was only just to, like, okay, I'm going to trade it so I can make this guy evolve, and I can see what the other guy... Because you don't have a little thing, like, saying, hey, man, can you trade me this? Can you trade me that? You just see what he's trading. Like, okay, that thing needs to trade to evolve. And I couldn't even read the guy's name, or the lady's name. It was in Japanese, so, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that's that weird like online trading where it's that thing where you just don't have that person to person connection like we once used to have, where But it's like
it was obvious. It was just obvious. Like I could see that it was only just transactional, just because like, okay, now we got to trust each other. That was a real. I think I'm going to say this for me. That was almost kind of like a international kind of bonding experience, because clearly my name was in English, their name was in Japanese, whoever they were.
But you understood.
I could see what they were selecting, they could see what I was selecting. And without even speaking, there's this mutual understanding, we were sending it back to one another.
It's like in The Last Samurai when Tom Cruise finally just kind of connects with the family and kind of gets it.
It was exactly like...
Like, you realize that, like, oh, it doesn't matter where we're from. We're after the same thing. Pokemon Mastership.
I need him a champ. You need Alakazam. We both get it. But then anyway, so Koga and Agatha both have this fight with their Arbucks. And we find out that, oh yeah, that Arbok wasn't dead. Apparently Arbucks work like other reptiles. Not like how... Because snakes, they don't work this way, but...
They work like Piccolo. They can regenerate as long as they don't lose their head.
Yeah, so basically we find that out, and they have this big long battle. And this is one of those like complicated fights they have where Agatha separates Blue and Koga, and she does something to like paralyze him so he can't see. So he's almost using like Golbat's like supersonic to like radar around and figure things out, and Koga has to throw him a paralyzed heal on himself I think he used like an Ekans he had in a ball with a paralyzed heel to get it to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did that because Blue gets like paralyzed. I do love how Koga has like Ninja Star fucking Pokeballs.
Yeah, they
like
get
that's one of those ones where
this.
it's like, dude, that's fucking sick. Like, why we have all these other fucking silly Pokeballs like farther out Pokemon games. I'm like, you can't give me a fucking Ninja Star Pokeball? Like, come on, like right there, it's like. I mean,
yeah. So, and this big long battle goes on, and apparently the different Arboks, they have different like designs on their like the part of like the Cobra neck thing. Mm-hmm. So depending on if that changes and what changes its abilities.
I will say that's something I do kind of like about like these series that gives it like more in depth is I like the idea that like almost like trainers can sort of train their Pokemon and have them be able to do different abilities from each other. So it's not just because it's like an Arbok doesn't mean it's the same as like every other Arbok. Even if it's at like a certain level, it's like almost like depending on how you trained it and what you did and what skills you teach it and so on, like can change like all kinds of different like effects of it and abilities. And you can even take a Pokemon that's weak against something, but if you trained it hard enough, it would almost become strong against it. I think that's just kind of like a cool concept.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. And this goes into, it doesn't get as technical as other fights do, because I think that's one of the things that's impressive with the series is the amount of detail they go into and the strategy behind the fights. Like, oh, that's clever the way you did that. It's not as much as other issues, but still just kind of interesting. The idea of like, okay, he's blind. How do I get this to him? How does he come in and help me with this fight,
Yeah, exactly. Just those kind of things of like really getting into. Yeah, it's the in-depth like thought process of these fights weren't one of those ones where someone just sat down and when they were just scripting out their like story like yeah whatever blah 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 like it reminds me like someone like literally sat down and like hardcore thought about how everything was going to go down, how these battles were going to go, and so on. But as it kind of goes on, it sort of starts cutting back between everybody else because then Lorelai runs into Green and Sabrina.
Well, let's say one of the ways that, like, first before you get to that, let's just say one of the ways Koga actually helps defeat the Arbok, which is he has his Golbat bite down, suck out a bunch of his blood, and spit it onto the Arbok.
Yeah, and it spits it onto, like, its design on its, like,
that's
chest,
metal as fuck.
Yeah, I know, and it's like to the point where like Koga's just fucking like, fucking lost like 2 pints of blood, but fucking be okay. Just get me a fucking cookie. But yeah, it is. It's like, well, that's like something you just wouldn't expect in a Pokemon one. Like, oh shit, he has his own Pokemon suck blood out of his arm, throws it or spits it onto the Arbok. The thing's fucking like blind in its skills, and then he takes it down. Like that's fucking so badass.
And here's the thing where we jump over to, that's what you said, we jump over to the other trainers. And even though they hate each other, it's cool seeing Blue and Koga kind of go work together because they do have this, like, in the middle of that fight, you do see they end up getting a little bit of mutual respect to each other, but they're still not friends by the end of it. Where Blue and, I was gonna say,
I like how Koga and Blue are even, like, carrying each other out like they just fucking, like, ran out of a battlefield. Like, it's okay, I got you fucking... Got you, Blue. We're gonna make it. Come on, Gold Duck.
But I do like how what's actually kind of funny, just how like Green and Sabrina are just fucking up because they can't even get shit together at all throughout their fight. Like Green ends up getting knocked out. Their Pokemon are attacking each other by accident in the middle of the fight. Just they can't get their shit together at all throughout this one.
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those ones, everything. I even like this part where Sabrina thinks her, she's like, wait a second. All those fucking attacks are being directed right at Green. Like, and not me. Yeah. And I mean, like literally directed at Green, not Green's Pokemon, like full on at Green. There's even a part where like the Jinx just like fucking like brutally like beats fucking Green down with like a double slap or something, or pound or something like that.
Flat out does a Mr. Big Hand, just like BAM!
Yeah, and then it's like they realize later it's like, oh shit, like the whole point that Lorelai is just fucking take one of them out hardcore, and then you only have to battle one of them now, and now it's easier.
Yeah. And then you even have the whole thing where it's you have like both Surge and Bill going through, and Bill and Surge just being like, God damn it, college boy, keep up, and they're like fighting on top of an Onyx. They're just kind of hanging out there over like a pool. Like I'm kind of, I don't know where the fuck that Magikarp came from. If it's basically acid spit from a Vileplume or whatever, but
Yeah, like Bill like falls. He's like, oh shit, I'm falling. And then Lieutenant Surgeon's like, no, not Bill. And then for some is that Bill's Magikarp? Because he just like falls into this like puddle. He's like, this ain't fucking water. And then like Magikarp splash, and then that for some reason shoots him back up onto the Onyx.
Somehow, maybe that was his Magikarp, because I could see him not that he's a fuck up, but I can see him because he has a Vulpix and a Magikarp, I think, and then I think he has something else. I don't remember what else he has, but I think he has like a Nidoran maybe or something like that. But then when he gets up, he's just like Surge's like, look at your shoes in the cuffs of your pants. You're basically just standing in acid, you know. And that's where Bruno comes in. And this is the question where I'm like, is he still under the mind control, or is he just kind of like, oh, I got over it?
It's like, yeah, you know, they took me out to Denny's and had a birthday bash, and it was all okay.
Grand Slam! Like, oh, shit. You can't just bring up Denny's around him. He's just going to shout that at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I love this battle. He's like, okay, we're going to have this battle on top of this Onyx. You know what I mean? It's going to be so fucking epic. And Lieutenant Surge's like, whoa. You're known as the master trainer of Onyxes. Like, how the fuck do I know this is not your Onyx? Bruno's like, it's not. but how do I know? You gotta believe me, man. I like fucking epic battles. I wouldn't fucking cheat you on this. I'm fucking Bruno. Ooh, Bruno.
There's one thing I love more than if there's one thing I love more than Denny's Grand Slams, it's an honorable battle. All right, so yeah, that's how you know to trust me on this.
Yeah.
But do you think that an earlier version, maybe it goes without saying, you know, people might say that's racist, but do you think he's related to Brock?
I don't know. I always kind of thought he probably like he was supposed to be like you, because you battle Brock. Think about it. You battle Brock like he's the first gym leader you go to, and then practically, I mean, I guess Bruno's like the first to the last, but in a sense, Bruno's in the very end. Like I almost thought that was supposed to be kind of tied together. I mean, I know that like we're literally putting this together because they both have squinty eyes and dark hair and tan. Though I like how like Brock has a tan in like the beginning of this series, and the tan sort of fades away as it goes on. Someone's like, the toning guy.
He stops going outdoors.
Yeah, the guy who was toning, it's like, you know what, fuck it. He's not gonna have a tan anymore. I'm sick and tired of every time he's on the fucking page, I gotta get a tone out and put it on Brock.
Well, I wasn't sure what the whole thing with Brock was supposed to be. I wasn't sure. I mean, I'm not trying to make fucking jokes here or anything. I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be Asian or if he was just basically, because I'm assuming everybody else in there was Asian. So yeah. I'm assuming maybe he was just meant to be this guy who's just very intense. So his eyes are always squinty because he's just like, he's the intense battle guy. You know what I mean?
Well, and what I think it really is too is I think it's like this, because this comes from Japan itself, but it's like, he's super Asian. I don't mean it because he's got the, but I think even Asians, they kind of get it because they're like, yeah, dude, there's some of us out there just been out in the sun a little too long and just got your eyes as squinty as can be, and so on. I think that's supposed to be what it is.
I think maybe because he works in Pewter City, so he's just like, if he's not over in the gym, he's down like in the bright sun smashing rocks at the rock quarry. So
I mean, if you think about it, if you drew Clint Eastwood back in the day,
yeah,
he would have squinty eyes too.
I think it just might be the intense thing, because I usually think the bigger eyes is someone for
like a cute character
is more for someone who's more innocent and more like emotional. Where the more, say, Surge's eyes, they're big, but they're not as big, and they're more narrowed in. That's more of like, okay, he's still expressive, but he's expressive, but you can still kind of get the vibe of what he's about. Where you look at him, it's just like, oh, you can't read him. He's just all fight. He's just all just like
he's focused.
Force of nature.
Because both him and Brock kind of have similar personalities. Shit, they have similar Pokemon too, even. And they're both kind of like that fighting, training, that kind of type.
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if in this graphic novel, or in the next one, they come out and say something like, oh, that's your cousin, or that's your brother, or something like that.
Yeah.
With Brock.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And this is where then we jump back over to Blaine and Yellow.
I gotta say this really quickly. Sorry, I know we're through this, but just like the Ninja Star fucking Pokeballs, I love how fucking Bruno has nunchuck Pokeballs.
Yeah.
So that probably in England they weren't allowed to fucking have that page.
Are they not even allowed to show those in England or something? Or
well, at least in the 90s, like in the 80s, they like I always thought this was the stupidest fucking thing ever, but like. England, ninjas was illegal in England.
You there, you boy! Like, oh, he's climbing up the wall again.
Oh, he's doing kung fu flips. Oh, that fucking wanker.
Like some like
serious,
19 like some like fucking like early like 1900s like fucking constable with a little fucking bowler hat and like a billy club. Like, you get back here, you! Oh god damn it! He's running across the wire again, doing that Naruto run.
Yeah, like, obviously it was such a problem in England for fucking ninjas, because Ninja Turtles itself is not called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles over there in England. And this is the part I can't ever figure out. They somehow edited out all of Michelangelo's nunchuck scenes, like, in English, like, version of the TV show.
The movie even go to the theaters? I mean, the movie even go over there? The like live action ones?
Well, that's what I kind of wanted to. I'm like, how do you edit that part out? You know what I mean? Like, but
I'm just wondering, what was it? I know we keep, folks. I'm sorry. I know we keep on getting off track, but we gotta like just stop and analyze this just for a moment.
Yeah.
What was it that happened? They're like, all right, no fucking ninjas.
Was there just some fucking British kid
of 1983
swinging fucking nunchucks around one day? Fucking, like the Queen comes out, one of those nunchucks just slips out of his hands, it fucking flies just spinning around as all like hell can be, and then fucking slaps her across the face, wraps around her throat. She's fucking up there choking.
I was in mid-drink when you were saying that, and that shit just came in my fucking nose.
Well, it's like, here's the other one that's fucking weird, because if you remember in the original Ninja Turtles TV show...
Give me a minute, I'm sorry, give me a moment.
You fucking dying there.
I'm just thinking of the fucking Queen getting choked out by fucking nunchucks.
And just some British kid like in like a fucking like Halloween costume looking ninja suit. That's all I picture. Fucking,
and then
like,
just a bunch of like fucking like guys with like those mustaches that start at the sideburns and come down like, there's that fucking cunt! They start beating that kid down like with the fucking billy clubs.
Well, okay, when you get later into Ninja Turtles, like, I think that they must have just, like, literally fucking England outwon, I guess, the entire rest of the world, because in the original Ninja Turtles TV show run, I used to remember as a kid, I'd be like, why the fuck does, like, Michelangelo never have his, like, nunchucks after a while, and he's just got that stupid fucking yo-yo? You know what I mean? Like, not saying that the yo-yo is not kind of cool, because, believe me, I love a good yo-yo, but... Come on, he had nunchucks, and they just switched. I think they just realized, like, you know what? It's a fucking pain in the ass to edit it for these fucking British people. So, you know what? We're just gonna give him a fucking yo-yo. Apparently, that's not in, like, the anti, But it's so weird. It's like, okay, they're anti-ninja, they're anti-nunchucks, but samurai swords, a fucking bow staff, fucking Raphael's weapon. Just drew a blank on it. Whatever. That stuff's all fucking okay.
Whoa, were they fucking... Was it a pair of nunchucks that killed Princess Diana? What the fuck?
They found that like in the fucking car wreck.
Bloody
fucking ninjas! Oh, I knew it!
Ironically enough, Wales is totally fine with it, though.
It's one of those ones, I think nowadays, you could fucking be a ninja and freely walk. Well, shit, probably you can't anymore. You can't even carry a fucking handgun. I'm pretty sure you can't carry anything else there.
Jesus. Well, there's some of those weird laws. Like, okay, for some reason, guns are allowed in California, but nunchucks are technically illegal. Yeah. But it's not like this hard law. I don't know how much of a hard law it is in England, but the idea of, like, no ninjas in media there. Like, so I guess they got no shinobi. I guess you can't play as SBO in any Sonic game over there.
Yeah, it's just like one of those ones, like... Yeah, but it's just so weird. It's like, yeah, so it's like, yeah, because that's what the Ninja Turtles, like, over there, they're like, whoa, they're not fucking ninjas. They're heroes, god damn it. They're bloody fucking heroes is what they are. They're like, shit, it's not like the Ninja Turtles takes place in England anyways. They're fucking in New York. Just, we've seen your Judge Dredd comics before. You think you could let the fucking turtles slide.
So anyway, we're going back to the comic, and Blaine just basically Blaine explains to like Yellow, like, yo, that thing probably just is suffering flashbacks. It has that scar on its ear, doesn't remember shit. If it knew,
it's looking fucking left and right, doesn't know where the fuck it's going. There's these tight spaces of like the cave are really fucking doing a number on Pikachu.
You notice how he just kind of walks around with like he's constantly chewing. He has like a spit bottle with him. He's just like eyes always darting left and right.
Doesn't get more than 2 hours of sleep a night. But I like how they do tie in like the Pikachu or the Pokemon Yellow thing, where like you could talk to Pikachu and see what he was feeling, you know. And at first Pikachu's like, "Fuck you, you stupid fuck," and then after a while he starts to love you and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, it didn't take long. All you had to do was almost like, I want to say he liked you by the time you were just starting to reach Brock. Like before you even beat Brock, he kind of liked you by that point. Maybe I'm wrong. But,
unless you're that asshole who's like, "Yo, you go and build PC, or you go in someone's PC. We don't even know who the fuck it is yet."
I wonder. There's got to be those people who got the yellow edition or got Let's Go, and as soon as they got like enough people on the team, just threw him in the PC. Like, don't need you. I'm replaying Let's Go right now, and I contemplated just because it's easy just to fall into habits and just kind of have the same team you usually use. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, what if I just threw him in the PC? Like, nah, he's too useful. I can't. So
I felt if I played that game over, what I would do is I would only, because that was the thing, is that game was like Pikachu was like, he was like, well, I just did the thing where I was like, I just want to see if I can beat the entire game of just Pikachu, because he was just like so powerful, and I was just like, sure, I'll go with it. But what I would do next time is I'd be like, no, I'm going to use other Pokemon. I have to use other Pokemon, but because you still got to kind of have Pikachu for all like the HM abilities, because he learns them all there. But that would be his only thing. I wouldn't train him whatsoever. He would just be like the tag along friend who you use the like fucking, you know, bum a ride off of, or cut down a fence, you know, or light up a cave.
The graffiti
you know
HM?
That friend that like
that's
hey,
an HM? Oh, you haven't got that one?
Where he kind of comes by, like, hey, Ryan, we haven't hung out forever. Like, what do you want me to do? You mind lighting up this cave for me real quick? Yeah, that's what I would do, is I'd have him for like that, just to see, because I feel like that would change the difficulty of the game. It would almost make the game a little bit more like equal. I mean, the thing is the way that Pokemon's made is the game is designed that you're supposed to switch between 6 Pokemon, but if you do the thing where you just let like 1 or 2 or 3 Pokemon just like gain all that experience, then next thing you know, it's like then you just become super overpowered throughout the game.
Well, the other thing with that one is, as much as I love Red and Blue, the originals, if you don't start off with Squirtle or Bulbasaur, and I was always a Charmander guy, the first gym was always so fucking tedious, because you'd have to, you know, because Charmander's not going to really do a whole lot against fucking Onix, so you got to actually, all right, I got to capture a Caterpie, I got to train this thing into a Butterfree, so then I can use, like, some psychic attacks on Onix. And if you didn't have that, then it would just fucking if you didn't have that, it would just be a fucking pain in the ass.
Well, it's funny, because there's kind of like that old-fashioned kind of, like, I guess you would say, people would say that like the difficulty of red and blue was that I think Bulbasaur was supposed to be like playing the game on easy, Squirtle was medium, and Charmander was hard. And like, I mean, like, I do kind of get it, like those first couple battles, and I think that's what they're sort of based, or the first gym leaders are kind of basing it off that, because yeah, Bulbasaur he'll do really good in that beginning of the game. You know, Squirtle will do pretty well too. I mean, when you get the Misty, I guess you kind of have a little bit of like, you know, same type against same type. But here's the thing. Once you're done with Misty, fucking Charizard will like just rape everybody in sight. Like, you won't have a fucking problem from that point on. You know what I mean? Because I feel like at the end of the day, Charizard is the one, compared to like Bulbasaur and, you know, Squirtle. I think Charmander like is by far way more powerful. Like, I mean, I guess, you know, it depends on how you kind of train them, but like, let's say this. There's certain types of Pokemon that I think just kind of do better overall than others, you know, and I always feel fire Pokemon. I mean, really, at the end of the day, their only real weakness is water, and beyond that, they pretty much kill almost anything else.
It's not their main weakness, but they're weak to lightning.
Oh, but that doesn't do like a whole lot of damage. It doesn't do like
it's
that.
Not as much.
It's not like
much
one hit kill like weakness.
Yeah, it'll take a big chunk of him, but like, all right. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, no, those ones are usually like I'm going to say, I'm thinking about all the games I play. I usually always go with the fire guy just because I like the design of the fire guy. I'll be 100% honest, Sword and Shield, I like the leaf guy, but the blue guy, the water one in Sword and Shield, I don't even like the design of that. Like the first, because I looked in what they evolve into ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Like what he starts off as, he looks cool, but then you see what he becomes, he just like nah, not feeling that.
Yeah, see, I like to be surprised. I like to feel it just like I was playing the game for the first time and just see what it is. And sometimes I've been misled in Pokemon games. I'm like, oh, that's what it fucking evolved into. But
That's
it's
why
like,
I like the thing of being surprised, but I also want to know what I'm investing all this time into. And in all honesty, if I knew the gorilla thing, if I knew I was getting like gorilla Neil Peart, I might have jumped on that.
because that's what I chose, and I was pretty happy with that one. Because a lot of times I'll say this, like I always like the plant Pokemon, but like let's be honest, at the end of the day, like the plant Pokemon have a lot of things that kind of like go against them, and then like there's a lot of Pokemon that they don't always do like great damage against. That's always the kind of downfall. It's like Bulbasaur to me. I think he's like my favorite design out of all three of the original starters, but. Like especially on Red and Blue, like he just doesn't have the same attacks as like the other two do.
Real talk, he's the only plant I like from Generation 1. Everybody, all the other plant ones are, oh, they're there, or I don't like them. You know what I mean? He's the only one that actually looks cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like some of the other ones' designs, but, like, yeah, like, seriously, that's it. Even though now I'm kind of getting to the point where, like, I like to try to choose, like, those kind of weird Pokemon and just sort of see what, like, they kind of do. Like, I'm kind of almost into that. Like, if I was going to go back and play Red and Blue again or something like that, I think I would try using just, like, some oddball Pokemon. Like, stuff that I would never normally pick up and use and just see where I can go with it.
You like throw your starter in the box, and then from there you just use like, all right, let's see how far I can get with a Rattata.
Yeah, like that would almost be kind of fun to do. I mean, it sounds kind of like weird, but like I don't know. It's like I technically have never done that, so it's like yeah, just pick up like Rattata, and then I'm gonna have like a Gloom, and you know what I mean, and then I'm gonna get like. Let's say, like, let's even do like a Geodude. Like, I've never really, utilized one of those guys throughout time, and just kind of pick like a completely sort of different team than what you would normally do. Like, almost do that thing that you have to take 6 Pokemon out of like choices that you've never really used. Like that'd be the goal. It's like being like, well, if you use a fucking Caterpie before, you can't use him. If you've used a fucking Pidgeotto before, you can't use him. And just like really just pick those up. Because I bet you at the end of the day, you'd find that like, oh shit, some of these Pokemon actually are pretty cool, and they learn some neat moves. And I mean, I think it really at the end of the day, it's like a fire Pokemon's going to be a fire Pokemon, and a grass Pokemon's a grass Pokemon, and so on. And you got TMs to teach them those other moves along the way as well too.
Mm-hmm. And going with all that, we should probably actually go back to the comic here.
Yeah.
But following up with this, that's where after Bill and Surge actually have a little bit more of a battle, and that's where Yellow and Blaine jump in. Blaine says, yo, Pikachu has non-flashbacks, this and that. We jump back to, like, actually, it's the kid. I think this is supposed to be the kid who Blue helped out get the Lapras and the Haunter back.
Oh, you mean the kid that's like for some reason left at fucking Blaine's office?
Yeah, I think that's that kid.
And then Blaine he's like, yo, kid, you want to make a fucking extra like $100? Like, watch over my lab while I'm fucking gone on a mission.
Don't let the nerd leave.
Whatever you do, that nerd I'm keeping. He's in fucking pristine condition. Don't you fucking open the package.
And that's where the nerd wakes up, like, oh yeah, well here's what happened. We came across like fucking like Red, and we tried to see if we, I was leading a team, and I told him to get back to work, but for some reason we couldn't even crack the ice on him or whatever. And that's where I ended up getting this glove, and then I disguised myself as him, like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all I'm here for. And then we jump back to the battle, and Agatha...
There's like those Super Mario Brothers looking guys that he fucking hires to try to get rid of the ice.
I wonder if that's supposed to be, like, they look like they're part of, like, Wrecking Crew or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, we end up going over and watch, we have the actual flashback to Agatha, what her beef is with Oak. And it's not that he left their, Mamas and Papas cover band or anything like that. It's, they end up having this, she thought, like,
she walks in on him fucking banging Mama Cast. What can I say? Professor Oak's a chubby chaser.
I like the big ones.
Oh, he really started going like Bill Clinton. He's like, well, me and the Clinton boys started hanging out together. Shit, you ever seen one of them parties?
Yeah, he likes to put on a dress and, play the saxophone while he gets his dick sucked. What can I say? Good time's a good time.
Shit. Fuck.
I don't go to those Jeffrey Epstein parties. That's where it gets a little weird for me. But shit, everything else, good times up until then.
Yeah.
You might be understanding where this Arkansas twang came from. It just comes from hanging out with a little Wild Bill.
But it's like, so they had this big old fucking battle and whatnot, and of course fucking Oak wins. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be just like, the Pokemon, Indigo Plateau tournament back in the day, When Oak... I like how Oak's kind of like Steve Martin. I know it's in black and white, but I just feel like he always just had white hair.
Well, the thing is, Oak looks the same. We make all these jokes about him being younger or older. He looks the same. Agatha looks younger, but she's still dressed like a grandma.
Yeah, it's like, well, they just did the thing where they're like, oh, we'll just erase like those like, it's like animes kind of do the thing where it's like, either somebody has like a couple wrinkles or they just got like 1,000. And she's, kind of just got her handful. It's like, oh, just erase a couple of those wrinkles and now look, she's young now. But they really should have gave her like a sort of a different outfit, I think. I think that would have changed it up. I mean, Oak's got his fucking bodybuilder suit on. He's
kind of dressed, he looks the same as he did, yeah. And I like a bench lift Oak. I like that one. I like that version of Oak. And basically she says to him, hey man, you are so good, you should come back and working for us, because we're working on something special. We're going to make something happen. He's like, nah, I'd rather make the encyclopedia that I always wanted to make. Like, you fucking idiot, you could do anything in the world. You want to make a fucking encyclopedia? Like, there's a lot more about these things we don't know that we could learn about them. And then they end up having this battle for 8 hours straight.
Yeah, just talking about fucking like, that's that pay-per-view you pay for and you're like, shit, I got beyond my money's worth out of it, so much so that I'm not even too sure if I want to pay that much.
Yeah. And then, but luckily, they just skim it. They just say, yeah, the battle went on for 8 hours. Shit went down. Got nasty. And that's when we cut back to Koga and Blue. They've been lost, running in circles, and Agatha's Gengar is attacking them, and they're keep on trying to get away. And I want to say that's where we cut back to the different gym leaders. We see the gym leaders fighting off, like, Brock fighting off in Pewter, Erica fighting off in Celadon, Misty fighting off in Cerulean. And it looks like, we're taking heavy fire, we need reinforcements! Because you just see buildings literally toppled over, like debris everywhere. Like shit you'd hardly, maybe you see, okay, there's the episode where like the Tentacool attacks or whatever. But beyond that, nothing like this level.
Yeah, I just love how Brock's just got, he's like, Team Geodude! And he's just got like 6 of them out there just fucking throwing down punches and whatnot and like just protecting areas. And fucking poor Erica, like, there's literally like a fucking like landmine goes off somewhere. She's like blown back like she's in fucking Vietnam right there, just like laying on the ground, and there's a fucking like shelter like over her, like
like has to send her Tangela after him or whatever. And then you have like Misty fighting off a bunch of Gengars. I'll say Misty probably has, even though Cerulean's fucked up, she at least has it easy, because at least her guys, or it's like, okay, because all of Bruno's guys are attacking Pewter, and Rock and fighting is strong against Rock, and all of Lorelei's guys are attacking Celadon, and Ice is strong against Grass. But at least Misty's a little bit more evened out, because it's like, okay, it's water versus ghosts, so I can kind of go either way.
Well, yeah, because water pretty much will eliminate ghosts really easily, at least by game standards.
Yeah. And then from there, this is where, at some point, like when they're fighting on top of the Onyx or whatever, back in the Elite Four cave, that's where Surge says he gets his Magnemites and makes that force field, and
I think this is where one of Bill's other Pokemon, because Bill has like an Execute or whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah, he has an Execute. That's what it is. But basically, he makes a force field around them, and Surge is having trouble. He falls off. He's getting pulled down by Hitmonchan, and that's where Red comes in. He says, "I'm back to save the day," and
Well, because Surge does that. He does that cool tactic where he's like, you know what? We'll take down this Onyx, and he throws out like his like Electrode and the fucking like the Execute, and they do like a super fucking self-destruct.
Mm-hmm. And they're back. Like, Red seems very cool to be seeing Surge for like the guy who tried to like chuck his dead body off like the SSN or whatever. But he's like, "Oh, I'm here to help." He's like, "Oh, I'm glad to see you, kid." And they have this big badass battle, and Red's back in the fight now.
Why is Red just like on the bicycle? He's just like, "Hey, I'm just riding this bicycle up on Onyx."
I just think they wanted to make it cool. I think because, it's just visually cool. He's just back on the bike, and you didn't really see him ride the bike that much throughout the series, even though that's the thing you do all the time in the game. Like, why walk there when I can ride a bike?
And that's I think it's also too. It's like that thing that appeals to like a kid, where you're like, dude, check out, he's got his fucking bike up on the awnings, fucking badass, man.
We're just riding down it while this battle's happening, and that's the thing that's always cool about this comic is the trainer is very much part of the fight. Like, if it's a standard fight, he's probably just standing a little behind him, telling him what to do. But if it's his life or death shit, he's very much in the fight.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, they are just full on part of it. I think that just makes for such more like dramatic and awesome kind of battles and whatnot. But so Red's back. He seems very like, he doesn't seem fucking war scarred like fucking Pikachu.
He has like a bandage around his ankle, or around his leg, but that's about it. And then I'm sure we'll get his story in the next volume. And he's like, I'm back, and shit's going down. And that's where, you know, as they're trying to figure out what's going on, that's where Yellow's hat gets knocked off. Like, Yellow is a girl, and to be continued.
Oh yeah, that's like that thing, because I remember that was the very first thing when I first saw Yellow on the cover of like whatever the first book she appeared in. I guess not he anymore. You know, it was one of those ones where it's like, oh, that's totally a chick. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean like, oh, that's fucking a chick. But I mean, like, literally, it's like, oh, cool, it's a, you know, girl character's gonna be the one. And then it's like, oh, it's not. It's a little fucking boy. Oh, that's fucking weird. You know what I mean? Because what I thought it was is, you remember back, I think it was in volume 3, there was like that side story where like Red was in like Viridian City, and there was like that girl there trying to learn how to capture Pokemon or whatnot, and he kind of gave her some pointers.
Oh, shit. You're right.
When I first saw the volume 4, I thought that little girl, I thought that was who this character Yellow was going to be. And then once it was like a boy, I was just like, oh, I guess, shit, fuck me, I guess I'm not right.
I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot. Oh, you were right. I didn't even think about that. So that makes sense why this person would be so interested in trying to help out Red.
Maybe it's those ones too, like fucking
Maybe we're both
Blaine
wrong.
knocks
Maybe
off Yellow's hat. It's like, oh, you're a girl, you got long hair. It's like, dude, I just got fucking long hair. Like, I know you're fucking bald, but it doesn't mean I'm a woman just because I got long hair. Like, oh, well, you know, in my generation, you would have been beat in the street, but you know, it's a new world.
Might have to Last Samurai that shit, you know, just like saw it off right in the street while you're on your knees. Yeah.
Fucking crying and just being like, don't take this away from me!
Maybe, I don't know, I'm assuming that's something, because, I mean, the hat comes off, and it's almost like a big reveal. So what's the reveal? You're a girl? I think I'm assuming you're right, because I don't remember what that kid looked like, but that makes sense. It makes sense why this person would want to help out, Red, because doesn't Red actually catch? I don't remember. Does Red capture the first like issue or whatever, and hands it off to some kid? Is it a Needle? Is it a Nidoran or is it like a Rattata?
God, it's like that.
I think he helps capture a Rattata and hands it off to a kid at some point.
Yeah, it might be, because I just remember looking at like the cover of number 4 right when we were done with 3, and I was like, oh, that's totally the character. I was like, and then it was like, oh, I guess it's not, because it didn't, like, nothing really fucking led to it. You know, so now it really just kind of goes like, oh, maybe it actually
that is. Maybe we're giving it too much credit, or maybe that's exactly what it is. Because this comic does have a thing about bringing it around full circle.
Mm-hmm. You know, it almost makes it go one of those ones like, oh, it's like where it's like, oh, well, we get why you had all those feelings and problems and so on. A girl, you know.
Well, I'll say, I mean,
I love when they have that reveal thing. It almost has that reveal like almost like fucking Blaine walked in on fucking like fucking Yellow in the shower or something like that. Be like, oh shit, you don't got a dick? Oh god, this is even more awkward now.
Or, well, like the part in like fucking in the like, what was it? Pitch Black, where Rick's like, well, someone's on their period. Just like, I'm not, neither am I. Like, I'm sorry. Like, oh, it's not a boy. You know, like, it's one of those kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. Like about those fucking weird moments.
So, a girl getting her period for the first time, that's a plot point in this sci-fi horror movie? Yeah.
Well, I
still like that movie.
Oh, I fucking love that movie. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Who the fuck? I don't know who says that doesn't count, but amazing fucking film. But yeah,
it's just not a plot point you expect to come into play.
Yeah, no, it just was. It was just that thing. It's like, well, we can't tell what this character is, and even the characters in the movie are confused.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to this, makes me look forward to the next issue, the next volume, which is the last one as far as the Kanto region goes.
Yeah, so, yeah. Once again, fucking, this book just delights more than, like, almost any it's so weird. Like, I just read these, and it's like, I mean, granted, like, I know that, like, Pokemon, like, that's one of my favorite things of all time, / like, I mean, realistically, we could not have been a better, like, candidate for, like, when Pokemon first came out. Like, we are literally, like, that generation. Like, even other things. Like, I'll even say, like, Sonic the Hedgehog, like, realistically, though, that's such a big thing for us, too, that kind of, if you take about, like, what its pure target audience was for kind of, like, when it came out, it was just a little bit older than us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, I think that a lot of times those things, like, you could kind of come and just, you absorb it all as time goes on. But, like, I always think Pokemon, though, is, like, it was made exactly for the 10-year-old. I was fucking 10 years old when it came out. Like, or as far as America goes, it's just, like, about as all perfect as can be. But these books, though, it's just like, dude. I don't know. It's just one of those ones. It almost makes it like, I feel like it's almost hard to read sometimes some other comic books now because you're like, these ones are so fucking good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's gonna fucking live up to Pokemon Adventure?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I've actually, well, first on there's this period. I'll say it. There's this period earlier on in the podcast, like not this episode, but the podcast itself, where we reflected on Pokemon and all that. And I'm like, I liked it as a kid. It's not really part. I'm not really into it now, but whatever. I can say, going back and playing some of the newer games as well as the other games, because I was mostly going in with the attitude towards the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like, no, I am back at the point of liking this thing, because there's that point where you succumb to peer pressure, and you're just like, no, it's fucking for kids. I liked it then, but I don't like it anymore. Fuck it.
It's all about Inuyasha right now.
What?
It's all about Inuyasha.
Oh, I never liked Inuyasha. Fuck Inuyasha. I'll flat out say it right now. Fuck Inuyasha. I never give a fuck for that show.
It's made by the person that made Ranma 1/2. I
still don't give a fuck. I couldn't care less. It's one of the, you take forever to find this fucking, I don't remember what they're trying to find, like the soul of Kikyo or whatever the fuck, and I never liked Inuyasha. I could never give a shit. But anyway, regardless of that, and here we just like, I like this show. They respect Pokemon just the same way I respect Inuyasha.
Then fucking Donnegan comes out, it's just like, you know what I hate?
Show.
Inuyasha. You know what I also fucking hate? People that like Inuyasha.
I just never gave a shit for Inuyasha. That's all it is. But I'll say this: this is one of those shows that is one of those franchises that I have come back around, and maybe I don't like every little corner, every little aspect of it, but playing the old games as well as the new games, and then reading this manga really has kind of like reminded me why I like it so much. And I can flat out say, I like Pokemon again. It's one of those things that, for a while I'm like, oh, I'm kind of a lukewarm fan. Like, no, I'm a big enough fan. I like it again. I don't know every generation. I don't know every character or anything, but enough to like, this is it's still, I'm kind of glad I'm back to it.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, like, I felt like, because I've been, like, I never really left Pokemon, I was always kind of in, like, there was, like, a couple games that I just remember, there were, like, those time periods where, like, you just couldn't afford always, like, everything, so, you might have missed out on, like, just one or two, like, variations, so most of the time it's always, like, where they were, like, always those kind of second ones, but, like, I've kind of always played it, but, like, the thing is, there's, like, those ones, like, there wasn't always tons of people to, like, share that with, or at least, because people had, like, the fond memories of, like, Pokemon back in the day, but it's not like everybody really kept up. But, like, that's always something that I look more forward to, like, a new Pokemon game than I probably do almost anything else.
And this manga series is proof that, this actually can have a good, it can have a good story, This series right here is proof, like, this can actually be, more than what just the anime was.
Oh, yeah, and for me, it's like, I always like the anime just because it takes me back to that time period, like, the greatest decade of all time of, like, fucking 4th grade. I call it a decade, but just such a magical moment. So, like, you could never really take that from me, but, like, I do get it, like, it's because, Ash is just the fucking moron you're watching that, like, you're just hoping will do good, and he finds a way to not. Where this story is just, like, I don't know, I think these Pokemon Adventures, I feel like we just talked this thing up like it's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread, but, like, it literally is. Like, shit, if you gave me sliced bread or this fucking Pokemon Adventures, I would take the Pokemon Adventures. You know what I mean? Shit, I can slice my own bread. I'm not fucking, like...
It's it's funny because I've actually, since we were doing all this retro like video, when we were doing the Nintendo stuff, I started picking up the Sonic IDW comics because they just started from scratch and just like where it takes rather than being like a continuation of the Saturday morning cartoon or expanded version of that or whatever, they're just making it take place in the world of the games and moving forward from there. And in time, we're not promising anything right here because we still got to figure out a time and how we want to do it. But I'd like to do those at some point, at least volume 1 or volume 1 to volume 2 or something, because this kind of reminds me of this, where it's like, you say to somebody like, "Oh, the Sonic comic's really good." Like, shut the fuck up. But then you actually read it, like, oh no, they actually are really good. Maybe you wouldn't change your mind if you weren't into Sonic, but it's surprisingly clever, well written. They understand the characters. They make a lot of small little nods and references for people who do play the games. Like the people who wrote the comics, you can see they give a shit about it. At the exact same time, though, you can see they know what to have emphasis on and what to pull back on.
Yeah, it's like they totally just kind of get it. No, those books I've always really wanted to kind of like go through for the podcast and so on. They've always been on the list. But,
without spoiling anything, there's a part in like the newest one I was reading where Tails he has to fight off a bunch of robots, and he's in the tornado robot from Sonic Adventure 2.
Mm-hmm. And
the first time in the series he's been driving that thing. He's unloading on him, and he has to get out of there. And he's getting cornered, and it's a legitimately sad part, and he has like a faint tear in his eye. He's like, I'm sorry, but you deserved better than this, and he sets it for self-destruct and has to get out of there.
That's badass right there.
Yeah, so it's like anybody else to be like, okay, whatever. It's like, you don't get that. That was your bro. That was your main thing in Sonic Adventure 2 whenever you played as Tails.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and that's what I just like about it. It's like those stories that are like one of those ones like, it's kind of like the Pokemon Adventures. Like, yeah, you first and foremost, you got to kind of be a Pokemon fan. I mean, not saying this book couldn't win over, certain people, but you know what I mean? I think that's kind of like the key thing, just like getting to the Sonic comics. You got to kind of be a Sonic fan, but like, it's that thing where it takes those stories and it almost takes it to like the next level, and it's just like, gives you more of what you want, gives you a deeper world kind of sense and so on, and just
expands on the characters and the world.
Yeah, just fucking great stories, you know what I mean? But so yeah, I look forward to more of that good fun stuff. There's I mean, we live in like the fucking greatest time period ever. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says around you. Like, literally, we got so much fucking amazing content that's out there that no matter if we fucking read something awesome every single day, we'd never even scratch the surface on how many cool things there are. It's just there's just not enough time in life until we like get the elixir of life and become cyborg robot bodies. But
hopefully one day.
Yeah, if we put enough money on Elon Musk, we might get there. Maybe get that. But
maybe he's not getting in Twitter fights with people. Anyway, yeah, I'm holding up the show.
But yeah, till then, go to oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comic books like Pizza Boys, old animations, and all that fun stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Sure, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, animation, and a whole lot more. We also have the Old Man Orange blog going with all kinds of fun stuff. If you easily want to support the show, use one of our Amazon links either on the website or in the description of the podcast below. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show either on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Newgrounds, or anywhere else that you seem to get this podcast from. Grab the sitcom-styled comic book Pizza Boys on either Comic Central, Comixology, or Amazon. Want more podcasts? Check out the Indie Comics Club over at Comic Central. I also got a workout website called Thor's Hidden Gym, filled with fitness tips and tricks, videos, and a whole lot more fun stuff in the calisthenics world. Talk to us on Twitter at Spencer S. Holmes and Dunnigan Ryan. Like our Facebook pages of Old Man Orange Productions and Pizza Boys Comic. Thanks again. We're out of here.